Now, from Southwest Florida's news leader, this is Wink News at 5.
You hear it. I just didn't
check relevance.
She says she knew her husband looked at pornography, but never suspected he was molesting young girls. A Naples cop is on trial right now.
Accused of molesting 2 girls, today Ricardo Vasquez broke down as his wife testified against him. You can see him here wiping away the tears. Wink News reporter Olivia Mancino covering the former police officer's trial. She joins us live now from Collier County.
Well, as you mentioned, today is the first day we really saw or heard any emotion from the accused Ricardo Vasquez. He started crying when his wife took the stand. Now take a look at that video again. He actually cried a few times. First, when his wife was talking about their anniversary plans that never happened because he was arrested. He also broke down when he heard the audio recording of investigators questioning him in 2016. Now remember, he's accused of molesting 2 girls between the ages of 10 and 16, and they say the abuse started with him constantly asking to have his back tickled, but then it escalated. Vasquez denied those allegations in his 2016 interrogation.
I kind of scratch my back like any dad would have, if you're itchy or, but, nothing inappropriate.
Also on the witness list today, multiple investigators from the Collier County Sheriff's Office. You can hear more of their testimony coming up in the Wink News at 6. We're live inside the Collier County Courthouse. Olivia Mancino, Wink News Now.
All right, thank you very much, Olivia. Breaking in the last 5 minutes, a judge in Tallahassee just permanently blocked enforcement of a 24-hour waiting period for abortions. That was passed by the legislature and signed by Governor Rick Scott in 2015. The judge called the waiting period unconstitutional. We'll bring you more information on this as we get it.
Horrifying new details just released in a robbery that took a deadly turn. Witness statements say Edwin Randall and another man fought with each other while trying to rob a Charlotte County home. Randall was arrested in Broward County on a murder charge. Police say Randall shot and killed Charles Williams during the scuffle inside this house in Englewood. Randall was on the run for about 5 months before authorities caught up with him.
Stand your ground denied. Cape Coral native Ryan Doyen won't have his murder charges thrown out. A judge handed down the decision today. Doyen claims he shot Roy Pike in self-defense last May. He says Pike pointed a gun at his face while robbing him. The judge says the facts of the case don't support that claim. Doyen's due back in court tomorrow.
Honoring a gentle giant. Today, Norm Lewis's brother and mother stood over his picture 1 year after he was killed in action. He died during a search for Markeith Lloyd in Orlando. Police say Lloyd shot and killed Officer Deborah Clayton outside of a Walmart when she was trying to arrest him. Today, Orlando police honored the 2 fallen officers with a processional. The Lewis and Clayton families were there. Lloyd is in jail right now. He faces murder charges.
Breaking right now, 6 people killed by mudslides. About 21,000 people are under mandatory evacuation orders. Rescue crews are keeping busy. Video shows a 14-year-old being carried out on this stretcher. Workers saved her from underneath a home overtaken by dangerous mudslides in Santa Barbara County. Wink News has a live report from that area coming up at 5:30.
More breaking new developments here in the last 30 minutes. Breitbart News confirms that Steve Bannon is stepping down from his post as executive chairman. Bannon faced backlash for comments in the controversial new book, Fire and Fury. The president has lashed out for Bannon's comments in that book, which question the president's fitness for office. Also breaking at 5, more than 300 pages of transcribed testimony from a research firm hired by the Hillary Clinton campaign have just been made public. Hillary Clinton's campaign hired Fusion GPS in April of 2016 to do research into Donald Trump. They then hired a British spy to investigate the president's past. A compiled dossier from that investigation showed the Russians had compromising information on then candidate Trump. Trump says the dossier was politically motivated. Several GOP-led committees are investigating whether it formed the basis for the FBI's internal investigation into the Russian election interference.
Focusing on immigration and security, today President Trump met with lawmakers to hash out a DACA deal. That's the law that allows immigrants brought here illegally as children to stay. President Trump says a DACA deal will only happen if it includes money to build a border wall.
There's not a Democrat that is not for having secure borders.
How much that wall will cost and the Democrats' strategy to get the DACA deal done ahead at 5:30.
The toxic green gunk may not come from where you think. All that stuff in our water. A new study contradicts the misconception that these toxic green algae blooms are caused solely by the discharges from Lake O. Florida Atlantic University tested water samples from these blooms in the St. Lucie estuary on the East Coast. They found evidence of human wastewater from septic systems to be the major cause. They say a combination of fresh water from Lake O and the wastewater created a perfect storm reaction. Researchers who worked on the study say they expect these toxins to expand with global climate change.
Hurricane Irma wreaked havoc on Southwest Florida schools. It damaged buildings, it destroyed furniture and equipment, and the repairs came at a hefty cost. Wink News reporter Nicole Valdez is live at the Lee County School Board building with the plans to get the district reimbursed. Nicole.
District officials say this storm cost them more than any other hurricane in history, running them more than $25 million in damages, but it could take years for them to get that money reimbursed. Now, the worst and priciest damage was done to roofs of a number of their schools. They say each one of those can cost between $1.5 to $3 million to replace. And so far, they say about 90% of the repairs are done, but the district says they've had to pay those hefty bills with money from their budget and now have to wait like everyone else to be reimbursed by their insurance companies and FEMA. And with the amount of claims being made all across the state, officials aren't confident they'll start seeing that money anytime soon. Now, we asked if the burden of paying those high costs could affect your child's education.
And that's exactly why we have reserves and contingency in place in order to handle situations such as these. But it is true, depending on how long we have to wait for reimbursement, it is an impact to the budget.
And school leaders say they will be meeting with FEMA for the second time tomorrow to continue that process of reimbursement. Coming up at 6, what board members say they want fixed before the next hurricane season. Live in Lee County, I'm Nicole Valdez, Wink News Now.
Nicole, thank you. New details. 2 people seriously hurt after a minivan slammed into the back of a school bus. Troopers say Robert Call rear-ended the bus this morning on Lee Boulevard near Gunnery Road. No students were on the bus at that time. Troopers ticketed Call for careless driving. Grand plans didn't quite make it to the green. A controversial golf course sits untouched right now after a developer pulled out of a deal to build new homes there. The Wink News drone shows the neglected course as it is, browned out grass, lots of overgrown trees there. This is right between Country Club Boulevard and Palm Tree Boulevard in the Cape. Wink News reporter Brooke Schaefer live there for us now with a look at some of the options the city's considering now. Brooke.
Chris, a new memo from the Cape Coral City Manager outlining some of those possibilities for the old Cape Coral Golf Course. In it, it recommends that Cape City Council discuss their options later this month. It's a conversation that has neighbors here saying it's about time. Overgrown weeds and untouched land have plagued the old Cape Coral Golf Course for over a decade. Neighbors like Barth Wolf have watched the land stay like this since 2006. And they're okay with that.
This is really a pretty special place in Cape Coral. It's very unique. We don't have property like this in the city.
And now a memo from the Cape City Manager is bringing the conversation about what to do out here to the forefront.
It's been 12 years we've been dealing with this issue in the city, so it's about time to finally get a resolution.
The memo to the Cape Mayor and Council outlines 2 options for the old golf course. Either approve residential development and bring in 500 single-family homes, or buy the property for $12 million. Something neighbors like Wolf say is exactly what they've been fighting for.
I mean, a year ago we were all about trying to keep D.R. Horton from putting in 700 homes. That was defeated now. The current owner may try and come forward with another proposal, but at least the city is now talking about options to go forward.
And in that memo, the Parks and Rec Department says some options out here would be maybe an amphitheater or a butterfly garden. Well, I talked to the mayor and some council members about what they want to see done out here at the old Cape Coral Golf Course. I'll have their conversations coming up all new on Wink News at 6. For now, live in Cape Coral, I'm Brooke Schaefer, Wink News Now.
All right, thank you very much, Brooke. Right now, the governor is focusing on saving you money and supporting law enforcement. In his final State of the State today, the governor said he wants to fight new taxes by requiring a vote by a 2/3 majority of the legislature in order to approve a tax increase.
I want 2018 to be the year that Florida voters pass a constitutional amendment that makes it harder for politicians to raise taxes.
He also wants to spend $53 million to help fight the opioid epidemic in the state and address sexual harassment at the state capitol. Well, should you get pulled over for texting and driving, lawmakers are expected to decide this session if police would have that power. Right now, you've got to be doing something else illegal to get cited for it. That's one of the several big topics in Tallahassee that it could impact our area. Wake News anchor Andrea Henderson shows us what to look for.
Legislation aimed at keeping drivers safe to restoring our waterways. Florida lawmakers will comb through hundreds of bills over the next 2 months.
Usually the worst driving examples are when people are texting.
Florida lawmakers are trying to outlaw texting and driving. The bill makes texting and driving a primary offense, meaning law enforcement can pull you over and ticket you on texting alone.
It's going to be obvious for people that are texting that they run the risk of getting pulled over.
In Southwest Florida and around the state, our waterways are a way of life.
We need to do something with the water so that our water stays clean. That's real important because we live on our water down here.
A proposed bill would dedicate $100 million to the Florida Forever program. This bill would help with efforts to restore the Everglades. In addition, Governor Rick Scott already committed $50 million in his budget this year to help repair the Herbert Hoover Dike around Lake O. Other bills are aimed at your health as lawmakers try to battle the opioid epidemic. Senator Lizbeth Benaquisto of Fort Myers introduced Senate Bill 8 to regulate prescriptions.
Something has to be done, you know. The trouble went on so long that we had to do something to fix it.
Governor Scott also proposed $53 million in his budget for substance abuse treatment. Andrea Henderson, Wink News Now.
And last year, lawmakers proposed 3,000 bills between the House and the Senate. Only 230 became law.
Helping to feed families who need it the most. How restaurants are teaming up with the Harry Chapin Food Bank ahead of the Wink Feeds Families Hunger Walk. Plus.
Sounds like Big Brother watching.
Concern over how police are catching criminals. Naples is asking for more cameras to record intersections. Why they argue it's not an invasion of your privacy.
Look at the low clouds obscuring High Point Place, downtown Fort Myers this morning. Low clouds.
Expanding technology to help catch criminals. Right now, 22 of these cameras are peppered across Naples at busy intersections, but the city wants to add more. Many of you are concerned this is another way for Big Brother to keep tabs on you. Wink News reporter Hannah Vogel live in Naples now to explain why the city says they need these cameras. Hannah.
The city says the sole purpose is to track criminals, not speeders or drivers who run red lights. When a suspect identified by police passes the camera, officers will immediately know.
If a car drives by a reader, the reader picks up the license plate, but all that does is just go into a bank, if you will. Nobody knows anything about it.
But if a criminal suspect drives by one of the license plate cameras, that's a different story. An investigator from the Collier County Sheriff's Office explained how it works, since they have license plate cameras too.
It's someone wanted on a warrant, or it's someone that might be a suspect in a crime. Then that license plate number is tagged in there.
So when a criminal with the tagged plate goes by, it alerts police. Naples wants to add more cameras on Collier roads where you can cross from the county into the city. Officials say the only goal is to keep you safe. Today, the Naples city manager gave one example of how license plate readers helped catch a suspect's car that was tagged.
We put that information into the data system. Several days later, the cameras identified that very same tag and alerted the police department. When the police department found the vehicle, it was full of stolen goods from residential burglaries.
Some say it's a great idea.
And do whatever you can to catch the criminals.
While others say no way.
I don't know how you take the innocent people that it might be used against someday out of the equation.
Both the city and county say only a few detectives can access the information from the readers. Now, if They say they understand the concerns for your privacy, so that's why they're only giving a few detectives reasons to look at it. Reporting live here in Naples, Hannah Vogel, Wink News Now.
All right, thank you very much, Hannah. Today was the first meeting of a controversial white racism course at Florida Gulf Coast University. At least 2 police officers were on guard at the class this morning as a precaution. Since it was first announced, people from coast to coast have weighed in on the course and the title. There were no protests or disturbances reported today. New information, dresses inside a once bankrupt bridal shop are now up for sale, but not for long. Wink News found out that a liquidator brought out the Alfred Angelo store that's near the intersection of US 41 and Fowler. It was open today and all dresses are on sale. The company is selling off all the inventory, then shutting the doors again to put the shopping space on the market. You may remember the bridal store chain went bankrupt last year and didn't return some money to brides who already bought dresses.
Safe to swim. The Florida Health Department just lifted its beach advisory at Tarpon Bay on Sanibel. State investigators and inspectors found high levels of bacteria last week. Test samples from yesterday show the water dropped down to safe levels. Beach water with higher bacteria levels can make you sick if you swim in it. Today marks 2 years since a catastrophic tornado hit Cape Coral. Remember this, the EF2 tornado? It damaged about 178 structures in 2016. Classified as strong, it reached peak winds of about 132 miles an hour. Nearly 10,000 people were left without power. Governor Rick Scott requested a federal disaster area after visiting the area back then.
And of course, 2 years later, much nicer weather pattern in place. Had some clouds and some foggy areas early this morning and some early morning rain, but that has all changed. Now we're looking at some clearer sky that has moved back in and across southwest Florida. So good evening weather forecast for you. Next few hours, temperatures will be in the 70s under partly cloudy sky. Doesn't look like we'll have any significant rain, although an isolated, very light shower, not out of the question as we work our way through the 7, 8, 9 p.m. hour. Take a look at future track. We'll take it away here hour by hour, stopping at midnight, starting to see the formation of some low clouds again, mainly inland at first. And then by near sunrise tomorrow morning, looks overcast. Look for low clouds to return. Hazy and in some cases foggy weather conditions redeveloping with reduced visibility early in the day due to high relative humidity and calm wind. All right, we've got less than 1 mile visibility indicated by future track early tomorrow morning. So in our wake up weather forecast, this is how we start the day. 64 degrees, but of course the bigger story are the clouds, especially the low ones, obscuring visibility and some patchy fog blending into the pattern. And it's still warmer now than it was last week at this time. That trend continues until Saturday. Late in the day on Saturday, we've got a new cold front coming through, so Sunday morning is going to be cold again. Looking ahead to the weekend, cold air returns on Sunday and it lasts through Monday and Tuesday. But outside right now, it's 70s to near 80 degrees for current temperatures. Punta Gorda, 78, relative humidity 58%. On the Cape, it's 81, so pretty warm, certainly a lot warmer now than last week at this time. Trying for an 80 tomorrow. After some fog in the morning, 80 degrees in the afternoon, 79 degrees, our high temperature on Thursday, which could feature a few isolated showers coming out of the southeast, moving off to the northwest in the afternoon. I don't expect any rain in the morning on Thursday. Breezier weather on Friday, and there's your weekend. 73 degrees on Saturday. Not as warm on Sunday, and pretty cool on Monday and Tuesday mornings.
All right, a little bit of everything in there. Thanks, Jim. More babies are dying in their sleep. How parents are part of the problem and the solution. All new at 5:30.
Plus, unbelievable video as mud sweeps away homes. Wink News is live where neighborhoods torched by wildfires are now getting destroyed by rain.
And a special project near and dear to our hearts here, how restaurants are making it easier for you to help fight hunger in Southwest Florida.
New tonight on Wink News, a new push to feed those in need in Southwest Florida is making it easy for you to help. Restaurants are teaming up with the Harry Chapin Food Bank to raise money. It's all part of the Wink Feeds Families Hunger Walk, which is on January 20th. Wink News reporter Taylor Bisacki found out how it works.
It takes strides all year long to get here, to the Wink Feeds Families Hunger Walk. That's why many local restaurants are stepping in.
There's only one reason. We want to help, we want to participate, we want to make sure
we always pick charities where we feel comfortable, and Harry Chapin is definitely an organization which I think is phenomenal.
Local restaurants like Sass's partner with the Harry Chapin Food Bank to contribute to the Wink Hunger Walk.
When you have a restaurant, you don't want your guests to starve and to be hungry, and that's why we picked the Hunger Walk, because there is truly a lot of people out there who are in dire needs of food.
Sass's is a 3-year partner. While other restaurants are taking donations, owner and chef Joseph Zimmerman says they're donating 10% of their revenue from this week into next Tuesday.
We always hit about between 1,200 and 1,600 for 1 week.
Zimmerman says it's all about feeding his community.
I think it's very important because that's what the word says, community. We have to pull together in one direction. And I think it's very important that many people participate.
Taylor Bisacki, Wink News Now.
So grateful to Sassy's and all the other restaurants participating. Again, the Wink News Feeds Families Hunger Walk is January 20th. So far, we've raised more than $127,000. Now, if you go onto the Wink News app here, you can go up past the 7-day forecast. You're going to see a story on the Hunger Walk. When you click on that, you'll go into the story. There's a convenient way for you to donate right there. And there's also a schedule of all the restaurants on the different days that are participating, so it can make it really easy for you to make a donation as well.
And fun. All right, thanks, Lois. Millennials are causing their own stress. All new at 5:30, why their quest for perfection may be causing mental health issues.
And new on Wink News at 6, a shortage in crucial equipment at your local hospital. Wink News uncovers how the IV shortage in Southwest Florida will affect you.
Wink News, now back with breaking news.
Back live with breaking news at 5:30. 6 lives now claimed by mudslide-ravaged areas, already recovering from a horrible wildfire season out in California right now. In the last 5 minutes, Wink News learned one of the victims was the founder of a Catholic school in California. Officials are asking thousands of people to leave their homes to find safety. It's easy to see why. Wink News reporter Danielle Nottingham has the breaking details.
Two options for the old firefighters rescued a 14-year-old girl who is trapped in a Montecito home that slid off its foundation this morning. Officials say she was buried under massive mounds of debris for hours. Search dogs are being used to look for more victims on the ground. From the air, the U.S. Coast Guard and Ventura County emergency crews pulled residents to safety. An avalanche of debris shut down 30 miles of Highway 101 near Carpinteria.
And the mudslide surrounded my car as I was driving 60 miles an hour, and it pushed my car all the way to the left-hand side of the road.
With the muddy mess, the winter storm flooded creeks and roadways from Santa Barbara to Los Angeles counties, trapping cars and people. Thousands of people were forced to evacuate again after surviving several recent wildfires. People whose homes survived the Thomas fire are now faced with this: impassable roads and driveways filled with mud.
I thought, I just can't do it again. I didn't know that it was going to be this bad.
Neighbors say the furious storm and mud flow shook their homes as boulders crashed down hillsides.
You know, it sounded like a freight train, coming right by the house.
Officials are blaming a transformer explosion in Montecito on the weather, causing several homes to catch fire.
And new information just in: nearly 3,500 babies are lost to sleep-related deaths each year. That includes sudden infant death syndrome, accidental suffocation, and deaths from unknown causes. In the 1990s, there were sharp declines in sleep-related deaths following the national Back to Sleep Safety Campaign. Data from the Centers for Disease Control shows those declines have stalled. The CDC says sharing a bed with babies is always unsafe. Don't place your baby on their side or stomach to sleep, and soft bedding like pillows, blankets, and bumper pads pose risks. So the best thing you can do, place your baby on their back to sleep, use a firm sleep surface, and you can share a room with baby, just not the same bed.
All new at 5:30, major arrests to help keep you safe. The U.S. Department of Justice says it picked up 125 people as part of Project Safe Neighborhoods, all in an effort to reduce violent crime. The 3-month initiative also took 220 guns off of the streets. It began 3 months ago and focused on reducing gun violence. 8 of those arrests happened in Southwest Florida.
Parts of Lehigh Acres are under a boil water notice. The Florida Governmental Utility Authority says there is a water main break along the 5000 block of 8th Street. If you live in the area, you're going to see low or no water pressure. About 400 customers are affected. Your service should be restored by Friday.
Today, President Trump met with Democrats and lawmakers to work on his 2018 agenda. He focused on fixing DACA, the Dreamers Act, and getting a wall built. That's the law that allows immigrants brought here illegally as children to stay DACA. Lawmakers face a March 5th deadline to address the end of the program that allows the so-called Dreamers, young people brought to the U.S. illegally as kids, to stay and work. House Republicans have a bill ready to go. However, it has a security amendment attached. President Trump says a DACA deal will only happen if it includes a green light for funds to build a border wall. He's asking for $18 billion to build the wall and add more security along the border. Democrats were not too impressed with the offer and pressed hard to get the DACA deal done first.
About a clean DACA bill now, and with a commitment that we go into a comprehensive.
If you don't have the wall, you cannot have security. You just can't have it. It doesn't work. This should be a bipartisan bill. This should be a bill of love.
All the lawmakers coming out of the White House today praised the discussion itself, and many plan to sit down for more meetings on Capitol Hill tomorrow. The first direct talks between North and South Korea in more than 2 years appear to be paying off at this point. North Korean diplomats walked across the border overnight to meet their counterparts from the South. They quickly announced that North Korea will send athletes to the Winter Olympics. The North Koreans said they're serious and sincere, offering what they called invaluable results. The conversation did not touch on Kim Jong-un's nuclear program. North Korea coming to the Winter Games, though, is a big win for South Korean President Moon Jae-in, who has called them the Peace Olympics.
A National Historic Park will honor Martin Luther King Jr. President Trump signed a bill to create the park in Atlanta. The new law expands an existing historic site commemorating the civil rights leader. It will include the headquarters of the Southern Christian leadership once headed by King. Right now, the site includes King's childhood home and a church where he was a pastor. Next Monday is the federal holiday that's honoring King. New tonight, former Arizona Sheriff Joe Arpaio announced he plans to run for U.S. Senate. The 85-year-old wants the seat now being held by Jeff Flake. He is a close ally of President Donald Trump and tweeted today he wants to support the agenda and the policies of the president. Arpaio was spared a possible jail sentence last year when the president pardoned his conviction for disobeying a judge's order in an immigration case. Flake is not seeking re-election.
The president is responding to the possibility of running against media mogul Oprah Winfrey in 2020. Today, the president was asked about the rumors after his immigration reform meeting. He says he doesn't think she'll run, but he says he knows the outcome.
Yeah, I'll beat Oprah. Oprah would be a lot of fun. No, I like Oprah. I don't think she's going to run. I don't think she's going to run. I know her very well.
Oprah's Golden Globe speech had the world buzzing about a possibility of a presidential run. Best friend and CBS This Morning anchor Gayle King says she's not seriously considering running for office, but Oprah is intrigued by the idea. Oprah has denied rumors in the past, but has not commented on these new ones. A fake phone market uncovered online. All new and still ahead, why it's nearly impossible to tell the phony from the real.
And making sure you have the right information to pick out healthy food. An alert on important nutrition label changes coming to grocery stores across the country.
Sure looks like a nice evening in Southwest Florida for the entire area, but then some fog in the morning, followed by some colder temperatures this weekend. Details are coming up.
New right now, you could see different nutrition labels on food products the next time you visit the grocery store soon. One of the things that gets overlooked right now is serving size. That's really important when you're trying to count calories, fat, sugar, salt, anything like that. The FDA is now requiring a new nutrition fact label on most packaged food, highlighting specific areas with bold print.
A lot of people tend to miss the serving size on a product because it used to be really small. They've added the added sugars now to products. So not only does it say maybe 6 grams of sugar, now it's going to tell you how many grams of added sugar, which is really great if you're kind of watching how much sugar intake you should be doing.
Companies have until 2020 to comply with the new design, but some are already implementing the change.
Also new this hour, a change in dining trends. It seems many of you are in favor of restaurants getting rid of tipping. A new survey from Zagat shows more people prefer higher menu prices instead. The 2018 survey showed 43% of the people asked wanted to eliminate tipping, but 33% think changing the system is a bad idea. The survey also found diners, on average, usually tip about 18%.
It's Your Money in the stock market marks its longest New Year's winning streak in 8 years. Major indexes continue to notch to record highs. Healthcare companies and banks had the most gains today. The Dow was up 103, the S&P was up about 4, and the NASDAQ was up 6. Christmas was good to Target, too. The company just reported a better than expected quarter. The store says sales grew more than 3%, doubling their expected growth. This comes as retailers like American Eagle and JCPenney are also reporting higher sales. Just last month, Target announced plans to acquire grocery delivery Service Shipped with the goal of delivering same-day groceries.
New tonight, some schools close in cold weather, but one nursery never shuts its doors. That's because it doesn't have any. This is it. At a reading time or story time at Dandelion Nursery in Britain, students just take a seat in the mud. And when it's time to play, the only toys children have are the ones they make themselves. Two former primary school teachers created this unique outdoor learning experience.
The outdoor environment is so incredibly rich. The amount of learning in a small piece of earth, you can hit every area of the foundation stage.
From building forts to forging friendships, teachers say the learning never stops. Philosophy is also part of the curriculum. Students wiggle their finger when they want to speak in order to make their ideas heard.
If you pass judgment on what the children say, then you can silence them because they think that there's a right or wrong answer.
The school is for kids between ages 2 and 8. It was named Britain's best nursery this year, and the founders are planning to open a second nursery soon.
Right now, Alabama is the king of college football again after a stunning come-from-behind victory. They beat Georgia in overtime in last night's championship game. The victory marked a major milestone for Bama coach Nick Saban. He tied legendary coach Bear Bryant with 6 national titles, the most of all time.
Last year we lost on the last play of the game, and this year we won on the last play of the game. So these kids really responded the right way. We said last year, don't waste a failing. They sure did the way they played tonight.
And moments after winning, look at this. Senior offensive lineman Bradley Bozeman proposed to his girlfriend on the field. She said yes, as you can tell from the reaction. Not everybody is convinced the right team was crowned last night. Yesterday, Governor Rick Scott signed an order declaring the UCF Knights as national champions of the state, of our state. They finished undefeated and beat several big teams to get there. So who do you think is the rightful champion? We've posted this story on the Wink News Facebook page. You can head there right now to share your thoughts.
Something you may take every day to help ailments could do more harm than good. How ibuprofen is really affecting your body. That's coming up after weather.
Well, it looks pretty good if you're heading outside after the newscast. Partly cloudy sky, mild temperatures in the 70s. In fact, we're at 78 degrees right now. It's actually 4 degrees warmer than it was yesterday at this time, so the warming trend that began continues. And afternoon highs tomorrow get a chance to reach 80 degrees, close to 80 on Thursday and Friday. Then a new cold front will be pushing through, and it will not be as warm on Saturday and noticeably cooler Sunday afternoon, only 65 degrees for the high temperature there. All right, take a look. Wink News Live Skycam, sunset's coming, 78 degrees outside, feels like 80. Humidity 62% with a northeast breeze at 6 miles per hour right now. Boaters, not much wind around, I'm sure you've noticed. Easterly in the morning near sunrise, calm at first, then easterly through the midday hours. Then westerly in the afternoon, 5 to 10. 1 foot, if that, offshore out to 20 miles. Looks pretty smooth over inland waterways tomorrow. And the Gulf water temperature still holding in low range of 59 degrees. Haze, low clouds, and some fog in the morning. And temperatures that'll be in the low to mid 60s across the area. Sunrise will be at 7:17. Probably won't see the sun come up due to cloud cover and reduced visibility, but the sun will come out during the midday and afternoon hours. Also could see a couple of showers developing in the area tomorrow. Not a lot lot of rain, so we call it isolated. When it's hit or miss like that, high temperatures will be closer to 80 degrees over more of the area. Cape Coral, Fort Myers should make it to 80, almost there. Punta Gorda, 78 your high. Port Charlotte, 79. Our forecast high temperature for you tomorrow. So I mentioned the chance for some reduced visibility early in the day tomorrow. So if you're going to be up around sunrise, you may see visibility of a mile or less over portions of the area. It shouldn't last too long. And on Thursday, we've got the warm weather continuing at 79 degrees. In fact, there will be a chance for some fog early in the day again on Thursday, and then isolated showers will be pushing through the area Thursday afternoon. Breezier weather. When you see the palm tree, that means it's going to be a breezy day. Here's our forecast model on Future Track for wind. South to southwesterly, so that's a warm air flow, but 15 to 20 miles per hour with stronger gusts on Friday. Not as windy nor as humid on Saturday. 73 will be the high temperature on Saturday, which right now is looking like a mostly sunny to partly cloudy day. But here comes the colder air. Early in the morning on Monday, 44 degrees will be the low temperature in town, calling for temperatures in the 40s across the board early in the day on Monday. Even Tuesday morning, we start in the 40s.
All right, Jim, thank you. Big plans in store for an abandoned eyesore. Wink News reveals what could replace the controversial empty space in the middle of Cape Coral tonight at 6. We have breaking news, though, in the last few minutes here. 8 now dead in the mudslides in California. That's a new number. The fatalities are believed to be centered in Montecito, not far from Santa Barbara. Santa Barbara County officials say they have rescued 50 people in that same area.
Caught on camera, alligators show their bizarre way to survive the cold. Check out this video from a North Carolina swamp park. The cold-blooded reptiles essentially allow themselves to freeze, and they just stick their snouts out of the water. That's what you see highlighted in the circles here. They just stick those out so they can breathe. Experts say that gators instinctively know when the water is about to freeze. Right now, white nationalist Richard Spencer is suing the University of Cincinnati's president. He says the school wouldn't rent him space unless he paid a nearly $11,000 security fee. Spencer's attorneys say such a fee is discriminatory and unconstitutional. Spencer is suing several schools for not allowing him to speak.
Man, I'm sorry, let's just...
You may remember this scene last October, peaceful protests ahead of Spencer's speech at the University of Florida. His appearance came just months after violent protests broke out in Charlottesville, Virginia, when Spencer and his followers held an alt-right rally. A man plowed his car into a crowd of counter-protesters, killing a woman.
New developments now. Apple is out with a crucial fix for a computer chip bug. The bug is called Spectre. The company released an update for its Mac and iOS operating systems, which fixes the issue. It's a microchip flaw, which impacts almost all chips made in the past 10 years. On the flip side, Microsoft is stopping updates meant to protect you from Spectre and meltdown bugs. That move comes after several customers complained that some software updates actually froze their computers. A new investigation open against Apple, too. French prosecutors are investigating the tech giant about the company secretly slowing down older versions of its iPhones. In France, it's illegal to intentionally shorten the lifespan of a product in order to encourage customers to replace it. Last month, Apple admitted to slowing down older products, they say, to conserve the battery. Apple faces several lawsuits in the U.S. and Israel. If you have a consumer problem, Wink News can help. You can reach us 24/7 online at winknews.com. Click on the Call for Action link and submit your complaint there, or call us, 800-795-9465. Just remember to leave us a daytime telephone number.
A new crop of impressive televisions were just introduced. Don't let your husband or your boyfriend see any of these. They're getting bigger, brighter, and smarter with built-in virtual assistants. They were unveiled today at the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas. Some were thin as paper and had the ability to be rolled up. Samsung revealed a television concept they're calling the Wall, which is almost 6 feet by 10 feet at its biggest point.
It's designed for homes, get this, but it also uses micro LED technology, which is a brand new TV technology similar to what they use in scoreboards, actually. A bunch of LEDs, great picture quality. Of course, the Wall will probably be insanely expensive, but they say it's coming out this year, and it's really cool.
It's really cool. But if you're after the sharpest picture, Samsung has an 8K television with 4 times the pixels of the more common 4K set. Just about all the TVs at the event have a built-in virtual assistant like Amazon's Alexa.
Really cool and really expensive are often the same thing.
Oh yeah.
You're going to be seeing a new face on CBS this morning. John Dickerson will now be joining Gayle King and Norah O'Donnell during the Daily Morning News show. Dickerson has anchored Face the Nation since 2015. He's replacing former anchor Charlie Rose, who was fired after several sexual harassment allegations against him. Dickerson begins anchoring tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. right here on Wink. Ibuprofen has a negative effect on men. A study published in the National Science Journal found young men who took ibuprofen developed a hormonal condition. The condition is linked to reduced fertility. The study was a continuation of research that began with pregnant women.
More millennials are striving for perfection, and a new study says it's stressing them out. British researchers studied more than 41,000 college students from 1989 to 2016. Participants were American, British, and Canadian. Over the period of the study, the number of socially prescribed perfectionists rose by 33%. But researchers suspect young people are cracking under the pressure. The report draws a link between the number of perfectionists and the rise in mental health issues.
New video here, a Florida dog spotted practicing its skateboarding skills. Look at this, a Jacksonville deputy caught the dog riding up and down a fenced driveway. The video was posted, just practicing, posted on the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office Facebook page. They say they see a lot during patrols, but this one will make you smile. It did.
They're a lot more like us than we think. Just
Right.
having fun, just out in the driveway, having a good time.
Not sure anybody was watching, but thought he could get away with it.
Skills.
Duped into buying a fake phone.
A mother's warning to you after her son was swindled out of hundreds of dollars. All new after the break. A loving mother's warning after her son gets duped into buying a phony phone. A 13-year-old spent hundreds of dollars on a new phone. Both he and his mother researched the company to make sure it was legit. Wake News reporter Emily Allen uncovers a market built around faking you out to take your money.
Opens just like the other boxes.
This phone is a phony.
Here's the phone.
But at first glance,
they have a curve to them.
It's hard to dial in on the differences.
If you don't have the two together, you wouldn't know.
Nicole Pedersen's 13-year-old son bought this phone from a seller through a site called Letgo. Pedersen's son and boyfriend tested it, turned it on, connected it to Wi-Fi, searched the internet. It checked out. So her 13-year-old son paid the seller $300. But when her son brought it home...
So I couldn't change the date, and then the screen didn't look right, and all this. And I was like, this is crazy. And I took it to T-Mobile, and one of the guys is like, it's a clone. And I didn't have a clue about it.
Turns out there is a market for fake Samsung phones that mimic the real things.
And I guess they go for online for $100. And I don't even know if I had this one, if I would have ever noticed the difference.
Tech experts say there are subtle differences. A misplaced logo, a smaller screen, and the interface is lacking.
It seems so cheap. The programs and everything seem so cheap.
But overall, it's tough to tell. That's why Pedersen wants people to be careful.
I guess in this world, anything is possible. The thing that got me was it was my son that spent his hard money at 13 to buy this.
Now she'll keep these concerns on speed dial.
I'll try to figure out something.
The next time her family looks for a new phone.